Welcome to West Seattle, a community known for stunning waterfront views, sandy beaches, beautiful parks and trails, as well as a vibrant and bustling neighborhood filled with plenty of coffee shops and streets to explore. Hi everyone, it's Maddie, your local real estate broker in Seattle, helping buyers and sellers throughout the region. Today we're going to be talking about West Seattle, and it's one of my most favorite neighborhoods in the city. West Seattle has its own island feel, so you're kind of tucked away on a peninsula, and from Seattle the easiest way to access it is from the West Seattle Bridge. Of course you can come up through the south, but generally speaking it does have a very coastal feel. So today we're going to be discussing a variety of places that make up West Seattle for you to check out and see if it might be a good fit for you. So the first place on our list is Alki Beach. And this is a historical, vibrant waterfront area where there's beaches for you to access. You've also got a variety of shops and restaurants to explore. And an interesting fun fact is that in 1851, this is where Seattle's very first settlement was. So actually, West Seattle was supposed to be where downtown Seattle is now. It functioned as kind of the heart of the city, but that eventually did change. The reason it changed is because the waters are a little bit more protected along Elliott Bay, where the downtown area is. But overall, a very unique backstory and something I thought would be fun to mention. Nowadays, this beach is incredibly popular for beautiful waterfront walks. You've got plenty of kayaking and swimming, and overall, just a fun area to grab drinks or food with water views. In particular, the walking trail runs about 4.6 miles, and you can see it all along Puget Sound, but also part of the trail sits right along the Seattle downtown waterfront, so you can look over at the city too. Alright, so I just left Alki Beach, and I wanted to quickly pop on and say something that I really think is cool about West Seattle is that they have a ton of community activities. I've done a lot of walking groups here where you explore the entire neighborhood by foot, and those are really fun. And in past, we've also ended them along the waterfront at various breweries. It was just super fun, and I think generally that strip, obviously I showed you in the morning, but typically it's very lively, lots of music, and sometimes there are, street artists and fairs going on. If you're curious about the walking group, I will link the information I have on it down below so you can see if it's something that you might want to join. Our next stop of the day is Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park has over 135 acres and features over 4 miles of walking trails. It also has what's called the Coleman Pool. It's a public swimming area for those to enjoy during the summer months. Lincoln Park is also home to the iconic wooden troll, Una, and she's part of what's called the Northwest Trolls Project by Thomas Dombo, I believe his name is. I'll have it down here below, and I'll also link his website in the description. But he's an artist who has created, I believe, 5 or so trolls in this region, and so they're a fun thing to go scavenger hunting for. Another popular area in West Seattle is West Seattle Junction. This is kind of your downtown where you've got lots of coffee shops, restaurants, different places to explore and walk around. It overall adds to the community's really fun atmosphere, and it brings a lot of unique character to the neighborhood too. Surrounding West Seattle, you also do have a good mix of residential homes, condos, townhomes, and places that are a little less expensive as you move further south, and then, more of a luxurious feel when you're along the water. Okay, so let's chat real estate market in West Seattle. So the first thing that I'll say is your medium home price, and this is just from this past February, so February 2025, is around $820,000. Now, if you compare that to the median for Seattle as a whole, which is $965,000 from February 2025, you do have quite a difference there, meaning that West Seattle does have some more affordable options than some of the other neighborhoods in the city. I do see quite a few nice smaller starter homes and have worked with quite a few first-time homebuyers in this area. So it is really a place to consider, I think, if you are newer to home ownership, especially because, as mentioned earlier, as you move further south, There are really nice areas that are kind of continuing to grow and develop nearby, but also with still city amenities and easy access to the heart of West Seattle. So that was talking just about single-family residential homes. When looking at condos, it's a little bit different. Seattle's kind of medium condo price point is around $625,000, but if you compare that to West Seattle sits at around $645,000, so right around what you're typically seeing in the greater Seattle area. So to give you a better idea as to what you can find in the West Seattle market, today we're going to be touring two different properties. One is a new construction townhome, and the other is a single family residential home. That way you can see what space you can get for these two different types of properties. Okay, so now we just made it to the townhouse, which is property number 2. Let's go check that one out as well. So I think all in all, there's quite a few pros and cons to living in West Seattle. So I'm just gonna kind of go through the ones that come to my mind. Okay, so your first pro is that there's a lot of beautiful scenery throughout this neighborhood. So you have easy access to water activities like kayaking and swimming. You also have gorgeous trails and just a very lush environment. Another is that West Seattle has quite a tight-knit community and relaxed residential feel. So because you're tucked away, you do have a lot of relaxed neighborhood streets that are beautiful tree-lined properties and quite quiet. So there's not too much hustle and bustle unless you are right along kind of the main strips where you see, you know, more condos, shops, things like that. Another pro that I'd say is West Seattle is a little bit more affordable than some of the other Seattle neighborhoods I'm familiar with, and I'm sure you are as well. So that's something to definitely consider and one I would say is a pro. Another pro is that there's great dining and shopping. So West Seattle is known to have a variety of different restaurants and cool shops to be explored, and it's a vibrant place. So you're never going to run out of things to do. So with all good things, there has to be some cons, right? So when it comes to West Seattle, I can think of a few cons or just things to be cautious of when looking at this neighborhood. And the first one is commuting. So if you live in West Seattle, you are going to have to take, you know, a bridge and some freeways just to get to Seattle Center if that's a place that you work. Also, if you want to hit the main freeway I-5 down south or up north, it is tucked away, so you're going to have to cross over to really get to main highways if you want to leave the area. So in that sense, it is a little bit hard to get in and out of West Seattle. So if you're working as a commuter or someone who isn't remote, that's just something to think about, just what time you leave for work and how you're going to get there. The second con, which is kind of hand in hand with your commute, is there's not really transit options there. So there's no light rail, there's no link. So just getting around West Seattle is also a little bit more challenging if you're someone who doesn't enjoy driving a car or biking. And kind of the third con is that if you do live in West Seattle, there's not a ton of job opportunity in the neighborhood itself. And so likely you're going to have to work either remotely or in downtown Seattle or in a surrounding area, which means that you will have to be doing some commuting. And then lastly, the fourth con is certainly subjective, but I do think It's worth mentioning that when you live along a waterfront, it can be a little bit chilly and windy at times. So the weather is a little bit more harsh than other areas around the city that might be more protected. But at the same time, it kind of translates into a pro because you are along such a beautiful, beautiful region in the city. So they kind of even each other out, but depending on how resistant you are to things like wind and rain and that kind of chill that comes along with living on the water, I don't know if it's really a con, but those are kind of the main ones that come to mind, and all things to consider if you are going to make a move to West Seattle in the near future. So I appreciate you guys watching my video. If you want any other questions answered about West Seattle or just in general real estate content, please feel free to comment what you're thinking down below and I'll give it a read. Also, if you're looking to buy or sell in the region, I do work all throughout Bellevue and Seattle surrounding areas, so feel free to give me a call or click the link down below in my description if you want to schedule a consultation. And with that being said, I wish you a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.